Welcome, everyone, to the bosom of Yvie and Angie. One's
That's
big,
what it should be
one's
called.
floppy, one's beautiful and small.
Sissy. I'd prefer the big and floppy, to be honest.
You can have it. If I have a boob reduction, would you like my leftovers?
You remember we spoke about this one other time, how it was like, we wish we could you want to take some of your parts you don't want and I can have them?
Yes. You
Like the
still want them?
boobs?
They're getting old.
Yeah, sure.
They're
I
getting
don't mind.
old. You
I can
still
just
want them?
I can plop
Why
them
not?
in. Pop them in.
And if you don't want them, just
can't
give them
see
to
why not.
charity, like everything else. You know, like when you give things to your friends, and if your friends can't use them, you just pass them on, re-gift again.
Wish we could do that. Could you imagine
do
how many that
too.
would be a game changer?
Yeah, it really
Just
would.
quietly. Oh.
It really would.
Sometimes I just
Sissy,
feel-
I can see what you're doing, and I don't like it. So don't do it.
All right, have we really started? Because hi everybody, welcome to Two Girls One Pod. You know who we are. I'm on Turrbal land, still loving it sick, and you're on Wurundjeri.
I am.
Yeah.
Wurundjeri. I love it
You
down here. It's a
certainly are.
beautiful
What's-
day today. It's supposed to be
Is
pissing down
it?
with rain, but it's not. So, you know, as I always say about weather women, it's the one job where you can get it wrong every single day and still go to
Every
work the
day.
next day. Have your job. It's the best career,
Yeah,
really.
how lucky. It's such a good career. I might get into
really
weather
is.
after this.
You can
after
go
this
and work for
dries
the
up.
bomb. Yeah.
Pun intended. You know what? Who's obsessed with the bomb? Freaking my dad and my brother are obsessed with weather. You know, because my brother's on the spectrum, he gets really obsessed with things.
Yeah.
And he's obsessed with the bomb. I'm just going to check the bomb. I'm like, darl, the bomb it will never give you the answers you want
Yeah,
because it changes.
it
It's
never-
the weather. Now I'm still going to check the bomb because the storm's coming from the southeasterly. And I'm like, you two just go off on your little bomb talks. I'm tapping out.
Yes. That's something nice to be obsessed with, though. A bomb
Isn't
obsession.
it? 'Cause
It's
it's
better
just
that bomb than
forever
another bomb.
changing.
Well, that's maybe
This
the
is true.
obsession. Is it keeps changing, and you just can't. You can't ever go, well, that's what it is. Oh, because it's changed. Just like Melbourne weather. If you don't like it, darl, wait a minute.
Yeah, and you'll get like the next wave of heat or wave of freezing cold.
Freezing. It just changes constantly.
Get it,
So you're still in the yurt. I sent you a wonderful profile that I follow. You must follow it if you don't already. It's
I
called,
just started.
yeah, it's really good. It's what's it called?
Abandoned houses.
Abandoned
isn't it?
houses. That's it. Abandoned houses. Like people just find abandoned houses and they go in and video whatever's left in there. Like I guess people die or whatever, but they, you know, if someone doesn't own the property or the property doesn't go to someone, it just sits there. You know, and these
It
people,
just sits there.
It just sits
I'm
there.
looking at the one you just sent me now. No, it's called Abandoned Places. It's called XPLR.Abandoned Places if you want to go check it out. There is some goodies. And Yvie sent it to me and she's like, your next purchase, because you best
a
believe
yurt.
that's something that I would do.
But
I would
because
buy.
it's a yurt, it looks just like your place, but really run down
Ew,
and
don't
abandoned.
say that. It's so
That's what your
scary
place could look
looking.
like if you just died and walked
I
away.
left it long
well,
enough.
you wouldn't die and walk
Yeah.
away. You might die and be wheeled away, or maybe died and get pecked away by all the rats in there that, you know, eat your face
okay.
off. But
Oh, God, that makes me feel absolutely gives me anxiety.
Oh, just want to say, talking of death, quick
Yeah.
RIP to our old CEO of Foxtel, Brian Walsh, died this week. Big shock to everyone. He died of a heart attack, allegedly. And he was a very big mover and shaker in the business, made huge changes, started in publicity, and he was just as you know, by all accounts, someone that just really loved Australian TV and making it, you know, something wonderful.
Beautiful.
We didn't have the best relationship with him in the end, but whatever. We still say we hope you rest in peace.
in peace. Yeah, well, you know what? If it wasn't for Brian, we never would have made it on Gogglebox, and we never would have, done all the other things we've done. So thank you, Brian, for our very first opportunity on television.
Yes.
And when we met him, he was lovely. He loved us sick. It's just when we left, he was a bit cross. But you know what? It is what it is. And now he rests in peace. And thank you for creating some magical Australian talent, if I do say so myself.
Exactly.
And television shows.
Can I just say, I went and saw a musical last week, and I can't wait for you to see it if it comes to Brisbane. If it doesn't, just the next time
Sydney.
you're down here in Sydney definitely. But next time you're in Melbourne, I'll go and see it again. Like, Jess would love it. Like, everyone, it's a queer musical and straight as well. Like, it's inclusive, but
It's everything.
it is empowering for women. It's mostly about women.
What is it
Two
called?
main women. It's called And Juliet. So, Romeo
I've heard
and
ads
Juliet.
about this.
It's so
Yes.
good. It's a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, and it's just And Juliet because she decides right at the beginning to not top herself. She's like, what if I don't? What if I
Always
don't?
wanted to know what happens if she didn't do that.
Yeah, it's very, very good, very good. But the best part of it, which is what you're going to lose your tiny, tiny little brain about, is that there is a man called Max Martin, and he wrote. I'm going to send you. I'm going to put this up on socials as well because you all listening to this, if you don't know who Max Martin is, you will not believe the amount of songs he's written. Like, he has pretty much written everything in the 90s for pop music. He wrote all of Britney's, all of NSYNC, all of Backstreet Boys, all of, not Justin Timberlake's, but there's Katy Perry, Ed Sheeran now. So the entire musical, they call these musicals jukebox musical. So, because they encourage the audience to sing and dance along. So it's, you'd really love it. And it's all 90s music. It's 99% 90s music. Like, it starts with everybody. Oh, no, it doesn't start with that, but it starts with another Backstreet Boys song. And Millsy is in it, and oh my God, he plays Shakespeare, and he comes up out of a floor. And I got chills. I've just got chills again remembering it. Casey Donovan is in it, and
Queen.
she plays the nurse. You remember Nurse in Romeo and Juliet? Juliet! Yeah, remember Miriam Margolyes, who plays it in the movie? Well, she plays that role.
Her.
And she gets a
course
much
she does,
bigger
'cause she's
role.
a queen.
Exactly. And she is very instrumental with Juliet's rise and journey. So it's a wonderful. I personally think Casey Donovan, her role was too small, like for someone who has that kind of a voice. But the two
talent,
standouts
all that.
are the woman that plays, the young woman that plays Juliet. Her name is Lorinda May Marypaw, and the woman who also plays Shakespeare's wife, Anne Hathaway, Amy La Palmer, who is seasoned pro in the biz, but she sings a song, a Celine Dion song that Max Martin wrote. See, this is the great thing, Ange, about this particular musical, is he has allowed them to use any of his songs, and he's got about 1 billion. So the whole thing, it's just like banger after banger. I reckon just in this one musical, there's about 35 songs. So it's just
lovely man for doing that. He's like, I've made my millions. I'm gonna let you
he
have
just
what
loves
you want.
and he's making a lot more money, but he's in the creative process of this particular play. The one I went and saw was the opening, so he came out and did a speech, which was just wonderful. And you know who wrote it?
Who?
A guy that wrote Schitt's Creek. So it's really funny. Like, it's
I
got
have
the
seen
comedy.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's very,
I
very
really
good.
want to see this. I've heard a lot about it. There's a lot of ads on it on. I think Brooke Blurton and Maddie Mills do an ad for it on
great.
if you listen to our podcast, it pops up. So
pops up.
go see it.
Go see
Just
it.
go
and
see it.
try to stay seated. Just try. I dare you to try to stay seated.
Did you get up and have a
can't do it.
boogie?
Oh, my God. Like, everyone was getting up. But, I was one of one of those old ladies. They always stand up before everyone else and start going like this.
Oh, yes.
I was that lady.
And with the hands up,
Yep.
clap too, like not in front
And
of your
never
face.
in
Like the hands have to be
time.
above the head.
Yes.
Everybody, yeah. Rock your body.
Yeah, but you will. I think you all need to go and see it. It's in Melbourne. Probably go to Sydney. I'll probably go everywhere else. But I think you should come to Melbourne and see it anyway. Like down here, we'll go as a group. It'll probably be the 5th time I've already seen it, by then that I've seen it.
I want to come.
You will love it.
I want to try to come to Melbourne before Easter if it's not too expensive. So maybe we can look for then.
Let's do that. Let's do it.
I would love to see it because you know what I often thought, because I'm a massive Baz Luhrmann fan and I loved his rendition of Romeo and Juliet,
good one.
and I always thought to myself, imagine if she just wasn't a 14-year-old girl who thought that this man was the love of her life and she didn't kill herself and the life she could have lived. Or if they both didn't die, you know? I always think that. Like even on Titanic at the end, I really just want to know if Rose would have stayed with Jack because, you know, let's face it, he wasn't making any money and she needed that sweet, sweet coin. They wouldn't have lasted. That's a sad situation. But we'll never know because he did.
But you know what? You're really going to like it then because you're going to get the answers that you truly
That I deserve.
that you deserve. And yes.
I'm so excited. It's on the list of the things I must see very, very shortly.
Also, I cried at the end because it's so empowering for women. And then I went and saw, like, as I was walking out, I'd already seen in the intermission these 2 women who had just done this other musical play, but more of a play called Amelia, which was also about Shakespeare. And that particular play, like, blew my mind, like, really blew my mind. And at the end of that play, because Amelia is played by 3 women of colour, and the older one at the end of the play does this monologue. And she stands at the top of the stage and she does this monologue that is almost like a call to women. It was like a jungle cry to women. Like what you get from this particular monologue, I've never, ever heard anything like it. And I couldn't get out of the seat. And it took me ages to leave the theatre, but everyone was the same. Like every woman was the same. Like we were just so overwhelmed by what this particular, and Clementine Ford saw it as well, and she made these huge stories about what that particular monologue was like, and what, you know, you needed to go and see this beautiful play. It didn't get its due that it deserved, but I saw them as I was leaving, and I've gone up to them straight after I've just seen this other empowering musical about Shakespeare in the day and the women who really are behind this man. There I am, just bawling my eyes out to two complete strangers about what they did for me and how sad I was that I'm a 50-year-old woman instead of a 20-year-old woman that has wasted so much time thinking about things that just weren't important, and I wish I had just let my star shine from being inspired by these kind of things. Well, they just looked at me, they were just staring at me going, thank you so much. But I swear to God, there was a glint in one of their eyes that kind of went, is she crazy? Like, I think like she was a little bit scared of me, but the other one came up and grabbed my arm and she said, I really understand what you were saying, and I have daughters and I'm the same. I wish I'd seen these kind of plays when I was younger, but I have daughters and I'm just so glad that they're seeing it. I said, well, that's what I'm glad about as well. It's this whole, you know, the young gay people who don't understand, because I've been watching the ABC In Our Blood, which is all about AIDS and HIV in Australia back in the 80s when that first came, and the scare tactics and everything. And it's an extremely hard show to watch. I highly recommend it to everyone. But, you know, like they often talk about young gay people who have no idea what the older and past gays before them have done to get them to a point where they can just walk down the street and just be legal. You know what? It's a kind of the same thing that I was thinking with feminism. It's, you know, it's wonderful that these humans, people are going to get empowered by stories like this. But they won't know what women have gone through to get them there, you know, or they may, but how beautiful to not even care. The youth, it's like that saying the youth is wasted on the young. It really is. When you're young and you're just like, I don't care. I'm indestructible and, oh, God, you're old and blah, 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 blah. And then you get old and you start,
It's like you don't know. Yeah.
Yes.
You're like, I wish I listened. Well, it's like they all like really crawled, and I'm not saying like crawl easily, like they dragged their bodies across the ground so we could literally like legitimately sprint now, really. Feminists and queer people back then. So but it's all about perspective too. And I know what you said before, one thing that really stuck out to me is you said, I'm a 50-year-old woman and I wish I didn't spend all that time. Like you can think like that, sure, but you're only 50. Yes. You have time to just completely be whoever the you want to be and not think about that because that doesn't exist anymore. You've got right now. There's this beautiful story of my cousins, Maddie and Carly. Their grandmother was just this really hard-hearted woman and never said she loved them and was just really angry and obviously held so much pain and trauma for being brought up back then when women were really just baby makers. But she just was like an old bag, you just be like, oh, grandma carries on. And then she had this whole life awakening at 90 and she's this different woman and she's up and she's about and she's just this, and she said, I love you. And it was Ruthie's mum, and my auntie just passed, and she never heard her mum say she loved her until these last 3 years when she started to heal. And my cousin always says there's no age where it's too late to completely recreate your life and do the healing and get the love and love yourself so then you can, show love to everyone else. And I always think that. I think that too. It's like, oh, in my 20s, I wish I didn't do this to myself. But it's just like, that's fine. Don't be defined by those experiences. Be inspired and just create the life that you deserve.
Well, I think
that's what I got from that anyway.
Right. You're never too old and it's never too late. So Married at First Sight, or as we like to call it, men are f***ing shit. Oh, God, it's about to end. Next week is Final Vows. So as we saw last night, Harrison and Bronte are done. They're not at Final Vows. Thank God. Thank Lord she finally had a proper go, like a real proper go. It took her sister to kind of get that fire up her ass. Oh,
that
she's
sister.
Great. So good.
That was magic. That part of the show just like cured my seasonal depression, cured my skin, cured my split ends, cured my achy breaky heart.
Salmon.
It was just like
cured your meats.
Oh, cured. It cured everything in the meat department. Like her just being like, you're a narcissistic asshole or dickhead or whatever. He could not handle someone that was like, would not let him go away from that. He had to literally stand up and leave. If people keep calling you these names so much, would you not go,
maybe I am.
Hang on, I am the drama.
Am I the drama? I can't
this
be
is
the
how
drama.
sick.
I'm not the drama, am I? Maybe I'm the drama.
I can't be the drama. You know what? The best part about this is we never have to talk about him because he loves it, right? He loves being spoken about. We never, let's not even use his name.
Yeah.
We never have to speak about
shit dick.
You know who ever again.
We already have shit dick.
Is what makes me happy.
Good. We already have shit dick as someone else that we know. But so he can be shit dick number 2. Shit dick number 1 is someone that you were on a TV show with.
Okay.
So shit dick number 2. And Bryce can be shit dick somewhere in the middle, like 1.5, because he was definitely shit dick.
Oh, what about, wait, before we go any further, what about the picture of the 3 shit dicks holding a girl shit dick?
All right. You sent me the funniest little video that you made for yourself and me to make us laugh, and you've shared it with our producers. I truly believe that you should share it with our followers and our listeners because it's so funny. If you want to see it, DM Angie, and just if we get enough people wanting to see it, then we'll I think we'll pop it up. We'll pop it up on our
Let's just post it.
Instagram.
I'll post it on the Angie and Yvie. So then if we're going to cop wrath, we can both cop
Yes.
it.
Yes.
I can't
Bring
take it on my own.
Bring it
I
on.
can't take it on my own. But the picture is, just for context, is Jamie from my season of The Bachelorette, Dean Wells from MAFS season from like 4 years ago, and Harrison, and they're holding up, Dean's holding up his girlfriend, who is, I think, also not, she doesn't seem like a very nice person, but I don't know her. This is just all.
Allegedly.
She's not, I mean, she's dating Dean.
Yeah, says a lot.
So I made a TikTok to that. Anyway, that picture gave me so much anxiety seeing those three. Like, you know what? To be fair, Jamie has never, ever been nothing but lovely, slightly creepy on the show to me. So I don't have anything against Jamie. I've just heard of all the horrible things he's done to other people. But he was still in that picture. So sorry, Jamie. Unfortunately for you, you go along as like by association.
Jamie wasn't a favourite on
full
TV in any of the shows he's done. So I think he certainly wasn't a villain, but more of a he was in a special little compartment of his own. So
he wasn't he's not like full throttle narcissist like Dean and Harrison, but he was just a little bit something going on there in the old Hart department. But check out that photo and we'll post the ticket.
Definitely. I think it'd be good to talk about Alyssa and Bronte this episode. Just the two women.
Yeah, let's just focus on them.
Who were in wildly different relationships. And I mean, for me, last week, let's just first touch on what I spoke about last week about thinking Alyssa has a bit of PMDD.
Or some kind of disorder.
After watching this week, I know it could be the edit, but her behaviour on the boat and her behaviour with the sister and, her like basically just saying to no matter what Duncan said, she would poo-poo it. She just would poo-poo it.
Yeah.
And, at the dinner party, even right at the end when they have the questions asked and she says he has to ask her questions she has to ask him questions and she reads out the question that said, how do you feel about Alyssa right now? And he says, I feel very warm about her. I feel a lot of love. I feel a lot of stuff. And when it's good, it's good. And she just went, so when it's good. So what is that, like 56%? And then and he finally says to her, see, no matter what I do, I try to say something really positive and you just tear me down. And that seems to be her thing. So
there's no winning.
For me, with Alyssa, I truly believe that she needs to stop the relationships and go find herself, get some really heavy therapy and spend some real time just not wanting to be in a relationship, not thinking, because by the sound of it, she's only had really crappy relationships.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. In my notes I have down, she's had such bad relationships that she's projecting every bad relationship she's ever had with obviously men not giving her what she wants with her son onto Duncan, and there's nothing Duncan can do because she thinks no matter what, he's going to be the last dude.
Yep.
And you know what? He very well could be, but you can't project that onto him because you don't know.
Yep.
Let him take the risk or don't take the risk at all.
Yes.
Why are you on this show?
And the other thing that really
willing to take the risk?
Annoys me is when people ask a question in an answer instead of answering. They answer a question with a question.
Give me an example.
So Duncan said how frustrated he was that she'd only just in the homestays told him the specifics about when she'll be available. Wednesday and every other weekend.
Yeah.
And he says, why didn't you bring this up earlier?
Weird.
And you know what her response, her answer was? Well, do you remember what her answer is? It was a question. Why didn't you?
Why didn't you ask?
Why didn't you? Yeah. And he should have held her right then and said, no, do not answer a question with a question. Answer my question. Why didn't you bring this up earlier? Why didn't she? She knew it. She knew exactly her availability with her child, which is like, she's not the only person that has a child. I'm thinking maybe that there's a bad relationship with the ex and but
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like the ex has much custody. One Wednesday a week and every other weekend. Shit dad alert.
Well, maybe
another
that's why she
shit
hates
dad
men
alert.
so much.
I agree. But she's got a man who's like saying to her, I'm willing to go with the flow here. And she goes, but you don't really know what it's like to be a parent until you are one. So you can't see. And instead of him saying, well, no, I can't say because I'm not a parent, but let's jump into this and see how it goes. Every time she would say, what if it doesn't work out? She would say, what if it doesn't work out? And he should have said to her, maybe it won't. You know, that whole...
And that's also okay.
And that's okay. Well, let's deal with that because it may not work out. You can't predict anything and you can't...
It's life.
Exactly, it's life. So are we going to give this a go or not? She's like a little negative Nancy.
She's very paranoid too, bless her.
Yeah.
I think that she's got a lot of work to do. It's hard because it's like... My friend I was watching it with, he was like, God, she's a psycho. And I was like, no, we don't call women psychos anymore. We say that she's doing what she can from her level of consciousness and she's had a very traumatic upbringing. And you can only use that as an excuse for so long. You need to go get therapy. You can't project it onto a man and make a man think he's going to change your life because men never change your life. So let's just put that out there. Why did you bother going on this show if you were not even going to allow him the space to at least try to be a bare minimum daddy?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've already got a bare minimum daddy. Why not two? But no, don't go on this show. It's pretty obvious why people... I think she did go on the show for the right reasons, but thought that she could control the relationship. And you can't control a relationship, as we know, as everyone knows. And if you don't know that, then you're going to learn the hard way.
I also kind of think there's two ways this could go. She thinks Duncan's too good to be true because he does seem too good to be true. Mm-hmm. Or we're missing out on so many things and Duncan's a real piece of work.
Yes, and you said that last week and I have to...
TBC.
Yeah, exactly, because, you know, what comes out, you know, we watched last season's and we all rallied behind Domenica and she got this edit of the hero and we all disliked Olivia. And it has since...
horribly.
Now what we've seen, you know, is a completely different side to Domenica.
Yeah.
And, you know, all Olivia ever says now, whenever anyone says anything to her is, yep, told you so. You know, told you so. So...
well, a lot of people say that she got a good edit, but we don't know her personally either.
No,
so
we
it's
don't.
Hard to know,
we can only know what we see and what we see afterwards. You know, what they present to us, what they say, what we do. But that's the same with all of us. No one truly knows us. We can only show you what we want you to see or, unfortunately, what we don't want you to see, but we can't hide it. But, you know, speaking of Domenica, their podcast, they tore Bronte down. I like Ella a lot. I think she's a fair person.
Yes, but I like Ella.
For these two who've been through the same experiment, the same process, to kind of say things that they assume Bronte has done, I think Bronte is really guilty of being not the most articulate person, and you see that when she finally has her come to Jesus moment to Harrison on last night's episode, where she finally gets to say, I don't want to be with you. I don't want anything to do with you ever again. She has that moment of where she can do this amazing speech, and it's just not in her because it's not in her. I'm sure that there's so much more she said, and it wasn't shown.
Yeah,
but I don't think any of it was kind of like, wow, yeah, that's going to go viral. So
I know, bless her. She could have had such a platform to make such a stand, to be like, no woman ever put up with this behaviour. But you know what? If you guys can take the opportunity to listen to So Dramatic podcast. Megan Pistetto did an episode about all these leaked messages from between Bronte and her mum during the experiment and what actually happened to Bronte. And it was disgusting how she was treated. So the next time you go for Bronte, and I want to take this opportunity to apologise, because I think there was a few times I said, all she does is clench her jaw and cry and walk off. I think she was at her wit's end because she was pretty much forced to stay in that relationship for ratings, and her mental health now is completely just abysmal. She's like a bag of nerves. She can't leave the house. She's getting abused. She's been called fat. She's been called ugly. She's been called unlovable. Nobody deserves that. We have to remember that this is a television show that has been completely manipulated, completely edited. Be careful what you say, because we haven't had it. Actually, that's a lie. We have had it here in Australia. A friend of mine, Tori Caesar, killed herself earlier this year, and she was on Bride and Prejudice, and her husband the year before, there was a rumour that the way he died was actually through suicide. A long story. So are we really going to push these people over a show for our entertainment, and they take their lives? Like, really back the
You don't have to be fans. You don't have to be
and you
nasty.
can call out behaviour,
Absolutely.
but don't say horrible things where this girl can't leave her house. And remember that this show, if we want to be going crazy, go crazy over Harrison, because he really is just disgusting. Yes. But the women... And the show is what we should be coming for, because the show is disgusting how they treat this girl,
that's right.
this woman. So go listen to it.
If it's true that, obviously it's her side of the story, texting with her mum, and it's been leaked. But people are going there just about leaking. It's like she has a right to show her side and what was really happening to her. And Megan Postetto also got an anonymous tip-off when she asked, is it true that producers get a little bit of a bump, a bit of a commission for keeping their couples on as long as possible? And an anonymous person said, yes, it is. So
100%
they're going to do whatever they can.
Why would they push so hard?
Exactly. So,
it's like they're not pushing so hard to have less sleep and no life themselves. They're getting sweet cashola.
Yeah. And I'd like to make an apology to Bronte as well, because I've said negative things about her, that she was there for a blue tick.
Fame.
And she may have been, but I want to say sorry, because what she was dealing with in Harrison is something that she could not take on. And I think her only downfall was that she thought she could take him on. But I think she realised over time that, and I think it was probably quite early, she's realised, this is not good. This man is not a good human to be around. And she's tried to get out then, and that's when they've gone, no, we've got to keep you, because he is just TV gold.
He's gold.
So and she says it at
TV gold in such a...
she says it at the dinner party. She says, you used me. I was a pawn in you. She says you were here for the wrong reasons. You were not here to fall in love and have a wife. You were here to redeem yourself and to be famous. She says it, and it's wonderful, because I truly believe and agree with her. He was there for all the wrong reasons, and he's used her and actually said to her that he was falling for her. And in a narcissistic way, she's believed it, which, you do with a narcissist until you realise they're playing you. Yeah, so it is quite awful. And, as John Aitken said to, I think it was Chrissy Swan on her show in an interview right at the very beginning of this season, she says, what do you think of Harrison? And he literally says he is the worst contestant I've ever dealt with. Like, you'll see.
I think he has been.
Yeah, absolutely. Just has no awareness. And if he does have awareness, it's almost like he's aware of the manipulativeness of himself. That
he wants to come across as that.
Yeah.
But apparently his brother is just as bad, and so I think that they've created their upbringing has been complete. You are God, you are right, women are just your objects. They do whatever you want them to do, and it's just disgusting. It's toxic. And if you think that Harrison is somebody to aspire to be and look up to, and if you think for a second of having sex with this man, go back over and watch the season and know he's going to do exactly what he did to Bronte, the other girls he was with before the show, to you. You are not special. You are not going to be the one that saves and changes him. He's the only one that can save and change himself. No sex for Harrison.
None. Don't give it to him. Let it fall off for nothing, for no sex.
Devil dick. Dirty dick.
Devil dick.
But look, we never have to say his name again. But the last thing I want to say to you is what I just said, that people, please, if you know of anybody that's thinking of dating him or if you know of anybody that's going to sex him, don't do it. He needs severe help. I wish there was a jail for people like that they had to go and like rehabilitate.
Yeah, that would be great.
Until they were decent humans.
I don't think, we've talked about this before. Narcissists are beyond help. They're actually,
unless you can admit that
and
you
who
are
do?
one,
Who does?
A lot of them can't.
No one. I don't know any narcissist that goes, I'm a narcissist, and I learned.
And if
how
they do,
to.
they love
Yes.
it. They're like, yeah. So what are you going to do about it? It's like, well, nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm out.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I'm gonna shoot bad do.
A shoop.
Yay!
Yay!
That's enough about that show. Let's talk about it a little bit more next week because we do have final vows. I think they're going to be really boring, but there may be a little, moment of something like Brent did last season with Tamara. That was wonderful.
Oh,
so we didn't
good
know.
riddance and good
you
luck.
Don't deserve me. So that may happen.
Yeah.
Let's see. I doubt
That would
it.
be
It's going to
cute.
happen. I just would also like to say Tanya and Ollie ship this couple. They remind me of that, just your first love, when you fall in love with someone, you're just so into them.
I know.
And they're just really kind.
I hope they
to
last.
Each other. So do I. They're just kind
God
to each
love
other.
them.
And they're into each other and they support. It's how a relationship should be.
I know. He's such a little sweetie bunny and so is she. And can we also just say, what's Lyndall's husband's name? Cameron. Can we just say Cameron's for the bin? He chews with his mouth open. He gives her absolute tuppence. He wasn't there for what sort of a relationship did he think he was going to have? He goes out for 6 months out bush and expects his misso to not have a whinge or want to kiss or a cuddle. Like, grow up, Cameron, and get off my screen. You're pissing me off. It's that time of the day again where it's Yvie's useless facts. Are they useful? Are they useful? It's up for you to decide.
Very useful. Very useful.
That song gets worse every week.
But how good is it? I mean, a theme song, God, I've got so many good ones and I just want to let you know them all at the same time. But I know that I just have to let you know little ones every week. So just know it's never going to end. Just know I'm always going to be there with my useful facts.
It's Christmas.
It is. Okay.
Oh, I know.
All right. Which one am I going to give you today? Do you want?
Oh, she's got the list.
Yeah. All right. Let's try this one.
Little variety. Okay.
This is a very short one. Very short, but you'll get it straight away. Bread. Mm-hmm. Something that you can't eat easily. But
no.
Bread. Been around for a long time. Lord Sandwich was the first one. That's got nothing to do with this. Bread. It was divided according... Bread. A historical story. Bread. Bread was bread.
Bread. Say it one more time. Bread.
So when you have a loaf of bread, right, say you've got it. Let's talk Downton Abbey. Let's go to Downton Abbey, okay? Remember that show, Downton Abbey? Okay, let's talk about bread.
Of course,
so they've got bread. They've got guests coming over. Oh, here comes a loaf of bread. So the bread would always be divided amongst the status. Okay, so the workers, the downstairs workers, they would get the burnt bottom of the bread. The bottom of the loaf.
Shitty part
of the bread.
Yes.
The family would always get the middle part of the bread. Guess what the guests would get?
The top of the bread.
What do you call that part of the bread? If it's the bottom of it is called the crust at the bottom, what would the top of it be called? The lower crust and the
upper crust.
The upper crust. You ever heard of status people in England, the upper crust?
Oh. What?
That's where the term upper crust,
The upper crust
of society comes from.
Because they got the upper crust because
loaf
they're
of bread.
the. I've never knew that. I never thought of that.
Yes.
Upper crust. It's like upper class, but
yeah.
it's the upper
Yes,
crust.
the upper crust of society. You're right when you said it like that. But yes, the workers would get the bottom.
Oh my
and
goodness! So
the upper class
workers would get the bottom,
but the guests would get
Upper
the
crust.
upper crust.
because the guests are what? Why are the guests more fancier than you though?
Because
Who's serving the dinner?
they are royal like
Why don't you all eat
Prince
the upper?
Andrew, Prince Charles, they were your guests.
Oh my god!
I'm not sure about this one completely, but that's where the upper crust comes from.
I
Do you
get
want
it.
another one? Or should we just leave it for next week?
Sure. No.
We've spoken a lot today.
No, leave it for next week.
Leave it for next week.
I wanna ask though, if we were what parts of the bread would we be?
What growing up in our
definitely wouldn't be
families
upper.
or that as we are now?
As we are now.
Yeah, we'd be upper. Like we're, big earners and, high in society and that kind of thing. Like,
Are we though?
You've got your lips done. Yeah, you're right up there, darl. You're right up there.
I've got my tattoo lips done. I live in I own a yurt.
You own your
I
own
would
home.
say
I think
we're
you're doing
middle.
quite well. Yeah,
I reckon we're middle.
yeah, we're middle class.
I think uppers are like the
Billionaires. Yeah, people,
owners
yes,
of like
the landlords.
yeah.
Yes.
We're not that.
We're definitely
that's
not
like
that.
it's like the
But growing up,
who's really rich and
we weren't
famous
middle. We
in
were-
Australia.
rich and famous, yeah, we don't really. Well, no, you have your billionaires and your millionaires, like people who are CEOs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Growing up, we were working class. Well, I was working class. I'm assuming you were working class.
Yeah. I was working class. Oh, we were working class, but also had enough to be able to do all the sports and stuff.
Oh, yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, so I probably would have been the bottom crust too. But you know what? Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here.
What's that from?
It's a Drake song.
Yeah, Drake. Started from the
Drake.
bottom. I know that
And
there's
it's not
another
team.
song.
I think he says
Yeah,
crew.
Crew.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
I'm sure that
Started from the bottom, now my whole
There's-
crew team.
I'm sure there's a
here.
Kanye song that's got started from the bottom in it. Started from the bottom and now he's 18
Maybe-
years. 18 years and what you're telling me he started from the bottom and now he's not mine? What? Nikita.
Oh, that was so bad. That was the whitest version of 18 years. 18 years and on his 18th birthday, you found out it wasn't his.
Okay, are you ready?
I ain't saying she a gold digger.
18 years and on his 18th birthday you find out what? He's not mine? What does that remind you of? Telling the story.
Oh,
That's a
I
Tom.
don't
That's a
know.
Tom way of
Who?
singing a song.
yes. Your 18th
Birthday.
birthday of birth, you find out it wasn't mine. You're rich and you try to steal my money.
It reminds me a little bit of
What's that called again?
Yeah, you're digging all the gold in what? You're just
You're
a
digging
stealer.
the gold
Let's call
because
you
you're
a
rich and you
stealer.
steal.
Stealer.
So bad.
Dunt.
Oh God, we're gonna leave you on that.
We will leave you.
Done.
Okay, just stop.
We'll leave you with that because that was just
The best.
that was something else.
It was. It certainly
that was
was.
something else, and we hope
Yeah.
you enjoyed
We-
that.
we know
truly,
that you
from the
enjoyed
bottom of
that.
our hearts. You enjoy this episode. You like and subscribe, and we'll read out some reviews next week. I feel not rate. Sorry, different
Yeah,
channel.
You do what you do. You do you,
and
boo.
you do what you want to do, and you just live your life, and you just have the day that you deserve.
I think that was spot on, that one. That one was spot on. You
Yeah,
got
that
it.
was the best one yet.
Best one yet.
You gold diggers.
Baby.
Have a good day.
Love you
Bye.
all. Bye.